afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we're going to have a look on this mini project number 2. It's pretty similar to the mini project number 1, the solution I made for that. So I took a copy of that and added the entity frameworks part to it. So I'm going to have a look on that. And after that, we're going to have a look on this foreign key thing with the entity framework, how it works. So I'm gonna share my screen here. This is the mini project number 1. So I'm just gonna show you that one, how it's looking. This was the mini project number 1. No database, just showing some data on the screen. And sorting and checking the dates, how old they are, and so on. So we're going to try to implement this for the entity framework also. So we have the CRUD and some reporting functionality, as it's said in the instructions. So this was just to show what we had in the mini project number 1. So this is this other project. This is the number 2. And we're gonna start from the beginning here. It's already pre-done, so it's you will recognize the things from the last one. We had this with the getting assets and preparing exchange rates, sorting, printing a header, and finally printing some data. So what's changed from the mini project number 1 is this section when it's getting data or the assets. It's getting them from the database now. And there's also this something added with the print statistics. So this is just calculating some things out of the data. But we can have a look on we go step by step inside here and have a look. We start with this get asset, what it's doing. So I press F12 to get into that. And you will see I have this explaining text here telling you that someone is writing on the chat, maybe something. No. Just good afternoon. I'm not sure why it started blinking. Yeah, we continue here anyway. So a little bit annoying, flashing the Teams icon. You see that this get assets, it says gets a list of inputs from user from database. If no database exists, it will be created and inserted with phones, computers, and offices. So this is something I made just for it. Instead of having this CRUD menu with all this creating and adding things to the console, I skipped that part. So I'm doing everything in the code. So this gets asset is just preparing some data for me. What it's special with this part is that it's creating the database at once also. You see there's a line here with the context, database ensure created. So what this actually does, it has a look on the DB context settings, and if there is no database created, it will create it automatically. So we're gonna have a check on this context here, and you will see it's the same as the previous one with the previous example that we had, we just storing some information. So computer, phone, and office is what we are storing in the database. And just a connection string to tell where the database is located. So I have this will be the name. The database is not existing yet. But as soon as I run the code, it will create a database. So I don't need to do the add migration or update database. This is not so commonly used normally, but when you do like small demos or something like that, this is really useful. So if you send something to someone, it creates the database on the run, so the user doesn't have to do anything. So actually it checks if the database is created or not. If it's not created, we're running this code, and this code is exactly the same as from the mini project number 1. So it's creating 3 offices, and then it's creating a list of assets and mixing phones and computers. So there's nothing new about this part. The thing that is new here is this section.
If we are running the automated database creation, so then we just remove this if pod statement and just go in a migration and run the rest of the code.
Yes. So you take away this one and do it manually.
Okay.
So this is the new inside here from the mini project number 1. It's because we have a list of assets. It's separating them to computers and phones before saving. So we add computers to the computers table and phones to the phone table. The offices will be connected automatically because they are part of this phone and computer, so they will be added to the database also. And finally, save changes. So this will this if inside this if will create everything that is needed for the database. And the next time we run it, when the database is created already, it's stepping over this part and ending up in this else. So this time it will be reading from the database. So reading all the computers and reading all the phones to a list and adding this list to assets. So far, and just when done, returning all the assets. So we will always have something in the assets. So the first time it will be creating the data in the database, and we have the assets already there. And the second time when the database is existing, we are reading from the database, so we get the assets all from that way also. So we could try to run this, and you will see I could maybe add, where did it disappear? Have to get assets. We can have a breakpoint inside here, so you will see where we end up. So if I run this, the code will stop here. So if I step here by pressing F10, I could step one line at a time. So it ends up here, and it will check if the database exists or not. If not, it will create it. And you see it ends up here, so it means there was no database, but it's created it and it's running this code. And this code will add all the assets to the database. So I could continue just to run this. It will take some time because, yeah, it's popping up on the other screen here. So this was what's happening. I will explain the rest of the things also. But we have some data, and this data is from the database now. So I'm just going to show you if I run this program again. We end up here in Get Assets, and I step by pressing F10, checking if the database exists. And it's already existing, so it just goes to this code and reads all the assets from the database. First the computers and adding it to the assets list, and then reading the phones and adding to assets list. And then returning all the assets to back to the code. So we will be ending up with the same data again. I did see I have two menus. That was not the meaning. Maybe I did something wrong. Yeah, doesn't matter. We're gonna have a look on the code also, the rest of the code. So we have this part we have checked with the assets. Exchange rates is the same as mini project number 1. So it's just putting together some currencies and the rates for the currency, just to have for the calculation of the out price in the different countries. The next step is to sort. This is for level 3. This is exactly the same as mini project number 1, sorting the assets. There's no difference. So we are doing this order by office name and then by asset purchase date. And just returning the list. Print header, also same as mini project number 1. It just printing out some header with this tab thing that is actually a pad, right? So everyone will have 14 characters in width. And then we have this print data that was in many levels. This is also the same as before. This is no difference from mini project number 1. So we are going through each asset so one asset at a time, and preparing some print data. And this is calculating these dates, how old they are with the 30 months and 33 months. I'm not going through this any more deeply this time because we already had this in the last mini project. So just talking you through it. After checking the dates, we are deciding the color to print the dates, if it's red, yellow, or normal white. We had the method for that also, just checking dates and deciding what color to print them in. We go getting this for each asset. We are getting the exchange rate so checking what rate to use in the conversion. Finally, we have this printed data line, and this is printing out each line at a time. So it has all these get types, if it's computer or phone, then model, office, purchase date, purchase price, then it has the currency, and finally it has the local price. And it's using this conversion from the exchange rate. And we are all the prices we are printing out with this toString and having maximum two decimals. So this is limiting it with this toString. And the purchase date we had with to short date string, so it's without any time information. I did see some of you had this time also with a lot of zeros per hour, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. So there was a lot of zeros in the printout. So this was an easy way to just print out this date. So we go back. And this is completely new. This is the print statistics. This is a new section. So this is just getting out some, or did we have it on the last one? I can't remember. Anyway, this is counting, making some checks on the data we have. So it's counting how many offices we have, the sum of all the assets, the average asset price, and the average asset age. And all of this is used by using LINQ. So this was like a section for having LINQ usage. And here, down here, we are just printing out these calculations we made. So just showing some, this was the part with the reporting functionality that was part of this exercise. And these numbers you could make anything. So it was not necessary to have these ones that I had. So we go back. My share had problems with the hydraulics. So I'm sitting on the floor soon. Not seeing the desktop anymore. So we go back. And we had this, this was all the data. So, and finally we have this print menu thing. And this print menu is adding some crude things here. So we could use this create new, read all assets, update and delete. And read all assets, that is the thing that is presenting every data. So I made some actions for each of these, but these are just hard coded. So it's I have this changing. We could run it so we could see it. I'm going to remove this breakpoint. So we had this create new. This is hard coded, so this will just create one phone that is named Ericsson, and you see we don't have any Ericsson phone here. So hopefully we get a new asset here when I press the C. And you see that it popped up with an Ericsson phone here. So this is an Ericsson 368, and when I do the update, it will rename it to 388. So we could use it also. And you see it has a new model name here. And finally, the delete is removing this Ericsson. So I will run this also. And you see there's no Ericsson phone in the list no more. So this was just hard coded, and you were supposed to do it by letting the user do the work in the console. So we could have a quick look on these things also, what I made. You see the create was just doing not creating an office. It was reading an office from the database to use one that is already existing. So maybe some of you have entered that problem also, that you maybe got, if you had separated the offices, maybe you got a lot of offices with the same name. So that is also a thing to think about, that using the same. So I'm reading out, for this example, I'm reading out Sweden, the Sweden office. So I will get an object that I could use when creating this new phone. So I'm using this office information inside here. So otherwise, if I had added like Sweden here again, it would be, I would have 2 Sweden offices. But otherwise, it's just adding the object to the database and save changes. So you've seen this many times already now. And the same with this update. I'm just reading out the object from the database, in this case, the Ericsson. You would most likely do it with searching for the ID that the user has entered in the console. So you would get an phone object, for example. And I'm just doing this, so putting this new model information and doing save changes. You would also it would be possible also to say DB phone update, but it's not necessary when I'm reading it from the database. Then I actually don't need to do the update, but it doesn't harm. It's good to have it. So what I was meaning is that you could have this line also. DB phone update. Like that. So what I'm saying that this line is not, it's not doing so much because we have been reading this from the database. So Entity Framework knows where this object is coming from. So this line is not doing that much. But this is the correct way. So for someone else reading the code, it's seeing what's happening. Same with the delete, getting out an object from the database, in this case the Ericsson, and then do the remove from the database and save changes. So this you also seen before. So this was pretty much the mini project number 2 in a speed version. Do you have any questions on that? So much of these things were already from the mini project number 1. So just reusing the code and making some changes to make it work with Entity Framework. Are you still there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So no questions regarding mini project number 2. Can you show the DB diagram for this mini project? Or yeah, I could do it from inside Visual Studio if you have this Entity Framework Core Power Tools, which use this DB context diagram. I think that was the linear question.
Yes.
So you see that computer, phone, and both have use of the Office.
Last time we have created a foreign key to check the vice versa, so we can handle from both sides. But we can use foreign key, so it always create an error.
Yeah, I'm not pretty sure I did understand the question. It was something problem with your microphone, I think.
Last time, actually, we created something for foreign key.
Yes, there's no necessary usage of foreign key here, actually. in this case, I'm just using Office as another class inside in one class.
Yeah.
So I have no foreign keys here.
Okay.
Why is there two Office columns? This is because you're thinking about the Office ID and the Office, or do you think that I have two offices? I think the Office ID is coming from this, the red one, yeah, because I have a phone table and I have a computer table in the database. So if we could find what did I do? I should have one database with, come on, MP2, I think this was the name. MP2, today's date, tables. You see I have one computer and one phone. So if I check on this computer, you'll see it has an Office ID. And if I check on the phone, you see I also have an Office ID pointing on the Office I'm using. Yes, there is only Office ID, yes. Do we have any more questions? So this is, if we go for the code again here, I had this asset, because we're having asset as one common class or base class that both computer and phone is using. And you see that we have only this Office information here. So we're telling that one asset is having one Office. So that's the connection. In the database, it will be Office ID. But I never tell Office ID in the code. I just tell that I have my Office. So the entity framework is handling this for me. But of course, I can get the Office ID if I want to, like if we check for the Office here, the Office class, so it's having an ID. This is the ID that the computers and phones are connecting through. But I'm not connecting them manually with the IDs. I'm just telling that I'm using the Office in my phone and in my computer. So this is maybe the magic you're talking about, Hadi. That you were missing from the entity framework. Do we have any more questions? Unique. It was missing the unique part. What do you mean by that?
Maybe it's easier to explain on the microphone. But I managed to do it in the end, you know. But you know, when you talked before, like if so it doesn't duplicate. Like if I have two offices in like so I don't have like 10 Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was having a problem with. But I managed to do it in the end.
Yes, of course. So you need to reuse the same Office object or like.
Yeah, exactly.
So otherwise you will get 10 of the same if you have using it 10 times as a new
Yeah, so
Office.
there wouldn't be any point with having it in different table if I did it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions or thoughts?
Are we going to do other type of relationships like many to many? It's more complicated, I think. Is it magic there as well in Entity or?
There's a lot of magic. We will be using more databases later on when we start using MVC and ASP.NET Core, because we start using web application and web servers. We will have databases all the way. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you will see much more advanced solutions. Was the class Office necessary? Office already exists in Asset. Yeah, I wanted to have it like that. So you should remember that you could do this in so many different ways. So there is no exact one solution. So I could have made it just having one asset table and having everything inside that. But what's the fun with that? You need to complicate it a little bit. So you see, I was using storing phones in one table and storing computers in one table. But actually, I could store everything in the asset table. Why have computer and phones separated? And I could have the office information just like a string telling Sweden inside the asset. But now I have an office object, so I could work with that also. So when we are coming using it, this means if you have an office object like this and you have a lot of more properties, you will reuse it in so the place it's taking in the database will be smaller. Otherwise, you will be repeating all the office informations in the other tables. Now it will be just one ID that is in the other table pointing to the office. And by that, we get all the office information. Did that explain it? Yeah. So often when you see this usage with you try to, if you have the same information coming over and over again, then it's time to think about splitting that up to have it in its own table, that information. So you don't want to have duplicate data in the database. But if you start having that, you have some design issues with your database. You need to rethink about it. Do you have any more questions?
Just to clarify, Mats, I think you did it like this, mobile phones class and computer class only to show us, but in real apps, you wouldn't do it like this, these classes.
Yeah, you could do it. So nothing wrong with it. Normally, you wouldn't have.
Because you will end up with many classes. Imagine if you get to have like 20 different categories, other than like TV or other stuff.
Yeah. Of course, you would.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it like this. But what I wanted to show with this is actually that you could. It's not necessary to have all these same data. So you could. I mean, computer could have a lot of computer properties, and phone could have a lot of phone properties. So We would just use the common parts from asset actually. So this is just making it easy to splitting it up. So, but of course, if everything is same, you wouldn't use a lot of the different classes for that. So you could have a property inside the asset telling what type it is, what category or what it is. So in the asset, we could have one property saying what type it is, if it's a computer or a phone or a dishwasher or car or whatever. So that would save a lot of place in the database also. So remember, there are many ways to solve these things. So there's not only one way. Do you have anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I have actually. I don't know. I'm going outside a little bit, if it's okay. But you know, the inheritance, I couldn't see the user any way to use it. Like what do you say? Sorry, I didn't find a useful way to use it in this project, the inheritance.
Yeah.
So what do you usually use it for? Like, is it more like for interfaces? Like I was reading documentation.
Yeah, but no, it's inheritance is very useful because it's like I told you with these assets. So let's say these were the things that all these other classes will have like a common thing. Then we should use inheritance for that. So and then would have in computer we would have like 10 more properties. We would in phone have 10 other properties. But they would all use this assets thing as common parts.
Okay, so just to extend the main class.
Yes.
Just extending the main class. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
So in some, if you was searching on internet, or sometimes they, instead of talking about inheritance, they are talking about extending things. So that's also another word that you would see.
The way you used the office object, I think that was the thing I didn't understand that it could do. So that relates to my question about foreign keys, because I couldn't connect.
So I wasn't actually telling anything about using foreign keys in this project. So this is just telling the asset has one class office. And that's it. And then it creates it. But we're gonna have
to know. You don't need to talk about.
You are thinking about the example I made with the many tables.
Exactly.
Yes, so we could go over for that project also to have a look on that. So this will be it. So in here we had like, this is mixed with all these link things we made, but you are thinking about, where is it? The company here. And we are telling that we are having like cars and motorcycles in this company. But what you are thinking about is that I'm going to remove that part, that this vehicle actually, which are the car and motorcycle in this case, are having a foreign key here pointing back to the company. So this is just for navigational information. So you could go from a car and go to the company, having the chain of information. So it's not necessary to have this. I could remove these parts, not telling that the vehicle is having a company, but I will still have the company having vehicles, cars and motorcycles. So this is connecting it together. So I could start out from searching for a car, and I could find out what companies having this car, and I could also see all the other cars and motorcycles that company is having with help of this information.
Okay,
But if
good.
yeah,
Then
so
I know
if
where I went wrong.
Yeah, I think yes, you tried to complicate it a little bit more than was needed for this mini project number 2. So if I would run this one, I would just see what vehicles a company have. But if I would search for this vehicle, I wouldn't see what company it's belonging to without this information. So I have actually a link here in the with relationships from Microsoft, and this is really much information, but this is covering all about how to connect things with the what Hardy was asking for, one-to-many and one-to-one and many-to-one and many-to-many relationships. So this here you could read a lot about this information. This is advanced things, so this is not just to do it. You need to have the correct information. So, but this is actually telling you what about how these things are working. With having like what is a foreign key and so on in these examples. So this is actually a good page or a good link. So I think I added it last time also. We had this many tables thing. This is also found from our links through some other link. So, but this is the direct link to this information. So it will probably be useful later on when we start using and creating the web pages, web servers. So even I had to go to this page some now and then to have a look. So it's not that easy all the time. But this is it's telling you how the things are connected together. So did it help anything, Lenny?
I'm thinking. Now I will look through this page, but
You should say yes.
No, but it's really good to clarify, because I've been banging in my head against the wall all weekend to figure this out.
Yeah, I think you went a little bit too far in your complexity with this mini project. So there was an easy way, but you tried the more different way, or the difficult way. But it should work also. What was your problem with this foreign key thing?
When I tried to connect it that way, and it looked good, the diagram, etc. But as soon as I started to add things, it just totally crashed. And I got this weird error message that they sent to you and Ernst as well.
So we could have a look on that, trying to simulate that. So I think what you try to do is that you try to add a car without adding any company information. I think that was this. We could run this. You could see what I mean. So what is happening in this code now, I explain to you. I'm getting one company from the database. I take the first company I find. I create a new car and I try to add the car to the database without connecting it to the company at all. So I think that was similar what your problem was, Lenny.
Correct.
So this will generate an error. This will say something with insert statement conflicted with the foreign key constraint and so on.
Exactly the one I got.
Yeah. So what's happening here is that you're trying to create a car, but it's asking for the ID for this company because we have this connection to the company. So that is the problem. So one easy way would be to connect it to the company by adding the company ID, for example, or using this company information I have up here. So this will connect the car to the company number 1. Then it would run. But if you want this to happen without having this information, just storing a car without any connection to the company, you would need to do a change in the company. Let's see, in the vehicle in this case, you see we have this line company ID. We could set a question mark here after the int. And this question mark is meaning that it's nullable. So it could be nothing actually. Without this question mark, we have the connection telling it that it must be a number. So that is actually the thing it's complaining about. So if I run the same thing now, and we see what's happening. You will see it got past these lines. So it did store this information to the database without having any complaints about company. So, but this car now it's alone in the database. It has no connection to anything else in the database. The other cars they have an ID. They are connected to a company. But now you have a single car without any connection to the company. And this is because this question mark I added to this. Where did it go? Here in this vehicle, telling what company ID to use. So how this first to default will send either the foreign key ID, or if it doesn't exist, it will send null. Yes, so it's always returning something, this first to default, so you could catch the information. So did this help anything, Lenny?
Yes, at least now I know where I went wrong.
Yeah, you didn't went wrong actually, because we haven't talked about it at all. We haven't talked about nullable types. But you could have like most of the types, like integers and doubles and dates and so on. They could be nullable, so it means they have nothing, no data. Otherwise, like an integer, it says it has to have a value. But by adding this question mark, it says that this is a nullable one, that it could be nothing. String doesn't have that problem because it's not behaving that way. I'm not sure, did it get too complicated, or maybe should leave it by now?
Yeah, I will look at your solution and see if I can make my original project work.
Yeah, okay, so
I'm good, thanks.
Yep, perfect. Do we have any other questions? Nothing. So we are checking the final solutions from you this afternoon. So hopefully we have you all got some response from us. Tomorrow we're going to start with the front end, completely different. We're going to start with HTML, and we're going to have a check on some styling also. And then Thursday we're going to extend that and include the JavaScript that is made to manipulate the HTML content on your page. And on Friday, it's my day off, and Ernst will have React with you. So React is the one way to create a web client. So, but you will get more information about that, what it is, and you will do it. We'll have React for 3 days. So Monday and Tuesday next week will also be React. That's because it's needs some more time. So React isn't just 1 day to pass through. So it's taking more time. But we start with HTML and some styling CSS tomorrow. So see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye.
Thank you, Matt. Bye.